Hello everybody, it's the Historical Gamer once again, and today we are going to be taking a first look at an upcoming game that's going to be on Steam. Upcoming in the sense that this game has been out for 2 years, but it is upcoming to Steam. It was supposed to actually come out on August 25th, but I guess the Steam review process delayed it by a week, so I think they're saying it's coming out like September 1st now. This is a game called Combat Mission Shock Force 2. The game came out 2 years ago. It was a modernization of the 2007 game Shock Force, Combat Mission Shock Force. And this game is a real-time tactical simulation, I think that's probably the best way to describe it, of a hypothetical modern conflict taking place in the mid-2000s, like, 2007-ish, 2008-ish. And it's basically so this is before the Syrian civil war obviously broke out. It assumes NATO launches some sort of invasion on Syria. I'm a little bit fuzzy on the reason why, but the U.S. forces are invading through Iraq. NATO forces, including Germany, the Netherlands, and Canada, are coming down from the Turkish border. U.S. Marines are landing on the coast of Syria. So you've got a whole bunch of different, invasion paths. The Germans are invading south from the Turkish border and making a move on Aleppo, so a key base in the north. Al-Raq is being attacked by, I can't even remember, I think the Dutch. And that's been a major conflict zone with ISIS in the real world. And then I think Al-Hashka is being taken by the Canadians in this hypothetical war. Meanwhile, the U.S. Army is invading through Iraq, as I said, and the U.S. Marines are landing on the coast of Syria. I'm not sure what Syria did to warrant NATO actually invading, like a full-fledged Desert Storm-style invasion. But in any event, that's what's going on. We are currently going to be playing the NATO DLC pack, so this game has multiple DLC packs. The stock game comes with one large or huge campaign from the American Army's perspective invading West. There's a Marine DLC pack that focuses on the operations along the coast, and then there's a NATO campaign pack that focuses on the invasion down south from Turkey. Again, we're playing the NATO campaign pack, so we get to command the Germans. We're actually going to be taking part in the 10th German Panzer Division. I was surprised to know that today Germany still has 2 Panzer Divisions active in its forces, the 10th being one of them. And our objective at the end of the day is Aleppo. In terms of the forces that we have at our disposal in this campaign, we have essentially 2 major forces. There's a force called Rambach, which is sort of our heavier force. It includes 2 Panzer Grenadier companies and then also a company of panzers, so like an actual armored company, so 3 companies there. And then we have a lighter formation that I think is going to be advancing not here, but sort of down the highway, I believe, north from, I'm not really sure, whatever Route 5 is. And that's the Catapult task force, and that's going to be consisting of 2 companies of, I think, German mountain troops, Jaegers, something, Jaegers, which I think are, I can't pronounce that word, and then a weapons company with them. So basically, there's 2 battalions at our disposal, a heavy weapons battalion of Panzer Grenadiers and Panzers, and then sort of a lighter infantry battalion with 3 companies, and then we have 1 support company of combat engineers to split between the 2 formations. These are a series of, this campaign is a series of predefined missions, so these are sort of scripted missions. However, there's some important things to remember with them. 1, your casualties carry over, so the German forces are not going to be getting reinforcements. If you have a vehicle that's disabled, it's possible it could be repaired between missions, but typically speaking, if you lose men, if you lose casualties in these battles, you lose them for good. This is supposed to be a rapid blitzkrieg-style offensive south from Turkey toward Aleppo. And so if you lose troops, you lose them for good. You're not having large numbers of reinforcements come in. This is supposed to be a quick operation. If the U.S. invaded Iraq in 2003, you weren't seeing a whole bunch of replacements, being shipped over after going through basic, at least in the initial 2003 invasion, filling out units or whatnot. This isn't intended to be an extended conflict. Call sign Squeak, thank you very much for the follow, by the way. In terms of the forces that we're going up against, primarily the Syrian forces in Aleppo are going to be part of the 2nd Armored Division, which is primarily a training outfit, and then elements of the 6th Special Forces Battalion, which it calls out will have AT-14s, which are anti-tank guided missiles, according to the game, capable of easily knocking out German Leopard tanks that are in our formations. There are also a series of reserve or secondary line units that we're going to be facing probably at the beginning as we cross the border here that'll fight as sort of Fedayeen irregular forces that will be things we have to deal with. In addition to losing casualties permanently, one of the other things we have to be aware of is that if we destroy certain buildings, we will be penalized very heavily in terms of victory points. If we start blowing up mosques and things like that, that's bad. Don't do that. The political stuff matters. So we want to avoid collateral damage if possible. We should avoid destroying the mosque, the school, and the bank buildings in this battle. And so we'll take a look at that when we get in there. Basically, that means don't call in artillery strikes on mosques. Don't call in airstrikes on mosques. Looks like we're going to get one Tornado IDS for air support. And don't have your tanks shoot at mosques or these buildings. We are going to be playing the real-time version of this game. There is an option where you can play sort of the traditional combat mission style, where it's a WeGo system. You issue orders, then you watch them unfold over 60-second turn increments. But I did choose the real-time. I'm assuming it's pausable once I get going. I haven't played the real-time before, actually. I haven't really played a ton of combat mission in about 10 years, but that's what we'll be taking a look at. So, game can break down into a war crime simulator. Well, hopefully not. You'll lose the battle if you do. So here's our force that's currently at our disposal. So you can see we've got 4 Leopard tanks up front here, Leopard 2A6s with their 120 millimeter guns. They've got 21 heat rounds and 21 APFSDS rounds. I think those are anti-tank rounds. We also have 1 utility vehicle, which basically looks like it's a Jeep, as best as I can tell. Looks like it's carrying some fire support groups, an observer. We then have 2 Milan, or I guess these are Marauder. Yeah, Milan 3s or Marauders. Marauder 1A5s. I'm assuming they're carrying Milan 3 anti-tank guided missiles with a Panzer Grenadier HQ, which I'm assuming is sort of our battalion HQ, the 112th. And then we've got an infantry team here. And then we've got additional Milan armored personnel carriers here, an additional 4 over here, 3 infantry sections, and a platoon HQ is what I'm assuming that is. I don't know if that's what Zug stands for, but I assume it is. We also have another 4 over here, which I assume is a second platoon with an HQ unit. And then we have actually another group of 4 over here with a Panzer Grenadier HQ, and then we've got 3 more infantry sections. I'm kind of disappointed to see it doesn't look like we have any heavy machine gun support units here. Lucius Dominus, thank you very much for the follow. So it doesn't look like we have a ton of units that are going to be great for Overwatch, other than perhaps these spotters here. So this is the map. Our objectives are as follows. We're supposed to take Frings over here, which I think is like an industrial park. We're supposed to take Podolaski, which is sort of the town center. And then we need to take Klinsmann, which I believe is like a government building. So we don't want to destroy the banks. We don't want to destroy... This is a mosque right here, so obviously we don't want to destroy that. I'm not clear where the banks are. I'm assuming this is a government building. Maybe this is the bank. And then if we go toward Frings over here... again, not really sure which buildings I'm not supposed to destroy. Probably a good idea to avoid destroying buildings inside these green areas, I guess would be my hunch. So you can see here, this is the map of where we're going to be fighting. We have our units placed largely on roadways. We probably want to avoid, as we get toward the enemy positions, too much in the way of, crossroads or things like that. I'm imagining there's heavy IEDs. Also, our intelligence at the beginning of the battle said this area over here is mined, so we probably want to avoid a direct approach on the town itself. So I think what we're going to do here, my initial approach, is going to be to put our 4 Leopards up here along this crossroads. If we zoom down here, we'll see that this looks like it's a bit of a rise or some high ground here. So if I put some tanks up here, we should have a good overwatch position on the approaches to the town or toward Frings. Looks like there's a much more open approach toward Frings across open ground. So I think there's sort of 2 options on how we can proceed here. We can either try and go on Poleski here as we sort of drive straight and then turn into the town itself, approaching from the flank to avoid the minefields, or we can go along the length of the map toward Frings, clear that area out, hold that edge of the map, and then turn east on Klinsmann and Poleski and take those from the flank. I'm not sure which option is better, but I think the route I'm actually going to go is I'm going to establish overwatch with our armor up here to guard against enemy fire here in on our flank. That armor will guard the flank as the infantry moves across these sort of fields and approaches the town. We'll then enter the town sort of on this edge or on this flank. We'll probably sweep a company in toward this edge of the town to clear this, and then we'll have one company approach directly through the town and another company kind of approach through the flank of the town to take Poldeski, Klinsmann. And then once we take both of those objectives, then I think we'll advance on Frings. We're supposed to get another reinforcement, a platoon of reinforcements, and that reinforcement platoon I think will advance straight across this open ground, probably taking these buildings, which I'm assuming have some enemy troops in them, again under overwatch from our tanks from a distance, and then drive on Frings that way, with reinforcements coming up from the flank from Klinsmann. That's sort of my overarching battle plan. We'll see. I haven't played this battle before. I wouldn't call this directly an inspiration by the Wargame series call sign. I think this is a little bit more simulation than the Wargame series. Nothing against the Wargame series, but I wouldn't call those combat simulators in the way that I think this game is. This is probably more like Graviteam. Although it certainly predates Graviteam. The Combat Missions series dates back to 2000 when the first one came out. All right, so first things first, we're going to go ahead and issue orders for our tanks to move up onto this crossroad here, onto this rise, overlooking the sort of open ground. So we'll go ahead and have these guys set up there. And we'll have the 4th tank sort of move over this way, and then maybe like between these buildings. These buildings should provide flank cover for it while also allowing it to see over this town. So we'll put 1 tank here, 1 kind of here, and then 2 over here. So actually, let's adjust that one a little bit. Its skirt should be covered by this wall, so it'll kind of have a view of this whole area as well. Okay, so those 4 tanks have their orders. Meanwhile, I am also going to give orders to our utility vehicle with our fire support in it. With our fire support guys in it, we're going to go ahead and just have them drive straight here. We're going to unload the fire support troops and get them up on the 2nd-story roof so they can get a better vantage point over these objectives. Again, that 2nd roof should give them a little bit of elevation so that they can have a good line of sight. At least initially, we can always redeploy them, but if we've got them up on that roof, they should have good line of sight across the entire map. It depends. So you can McGib the stock game, which comes with I believe just the U.S. Army, and then you can also play as the Syrians in like different battles, not in the campaign. And then I believe the DLC packs allow you to add in Canada, the Netherlands, Germany, which is what we're playing as right now. I think there's a British DLC pack, and then also the U.S. Marines. All right, so we're going to move these guys down here, and I think we're going to unload this infantry group up on top of this roof. So we're going to move this APC following in on those tanks. It has an infantry section here, which should provide some overwatch, I guess. Meanwhile, the battalion HQ, at least that's what I'm assuming it is, will also go ahead and it'll set up a headquarters. Oh shit! I didn't want to do that. Backspace undo is an undo command. Click on the unit here, or the vehicle here, and then we'll go ahead and get these guys in. I'm not sure where to set up the battalion HQ. It might make sense to set them up in the lower level of this building where we've got our fire support, but it's going to be pretty far to the rear once we start moving forward, so I'm not sure how communications work between those groups. So we're going to have the headquarters unit move forward there, and then we'll have the one of the infantry squads move forward as well to provide some long-distance cover, I guess. Looks like in terms of artillery support, we've got 2 self-propelled 155mm artillery units that we can use to call in fire support. And I'm not sure if our observers have access to anything else. It looks like just the same thing. It also says after about 20 minutes, we'll have some Tornado IDFs that'll be able to call in fire support. For the meantime, I'm going to leave my other APCs with my infantry stationary, and we'll just kind of get going here. Yeah, Galactic Combat Missions DLC model, I would say, is more similar to like a flight sim than it is to some games in terms of it has a lot of modules and DLC and things like that. I'm curious to see if that changes at all as they come to Steam. Oh shit, did they already dismount? No, they look like they're still on there. Unless you mean my headquarters unit. Maybe they dismounted? Oh shit. No! Get back in the truck. How do I even mount him back up? Do I just... Oh, there we go. There we go. And the vehicle still has its orders. Okay, cool. All right, so that's what we're going to do, and I'm just going to zoom in on, or, you know, move on to the ground so we can see these beautiful little tanks roll on by. So there go our leopards up the road, as we ordered. Gotta love those leopards. It's such a good-looking tank. I love the ground shaking around you as your tanks move. Other tanks pulling off-road, moving forward here. Looks like our first tank is at the rise, and it doesn't appear to have any targets that I can see anyway. Its turret's not moving as if it's detected anyone. These other tanks are swinging to the right. If there's enemy troops in the town, we might see it. This may not be a huge battle either. This campaign is listed as medium. The U.S. main campaign is listed as huge. So I'm not sure if that means that it won't be as large a battles. I know it doesn't sound like we'll probably have a ton of anti-armor competition until we get closer to Aleppo. So we'll see. All right, so our tanks are in position. Where are our support units here? So you can see our fire control team. We'll go ahead and move them up to the roof. Dismounting here, and then we'll move our battalion HQ into the first level of this building. So you can see our troops are dismounting. They're coming out the back of the APC. I love that. Just like, there they go. Move, move, move. Go set up your HQ. Door shuts on them. Armor stills detected nothing. I think we'll send this infantry over here a little bit closer on this roof over here. Yeah, I don't anticipate rushing forward on this thing. This may not be the most exciting battle if it's mostly sort of... Oh, shit, what are we shooting at? Oh, god damn it! What are we being hit by? I don't see anything. It was hit by something. Who are you shooting at? Alright, so I'm guessing we're shooting at whatever these guys are. We're firing heat rounds by the looks of it. We took a hit, but it didn't look like it was penetrative damage. And they could have rockets. I'm gonna guess if they're reserve troops, they don't have like ATG-14 or AT-14s. Do we have any smoke options? I don't see any smoke. I also love the dust that your tanks kick up when they fire. I think these guys are relatively safe from direct fire, at least rockets, behind this wall. Looks like our armored personnel carrier is opening up on something. Oh, they're firing an anti-tank guided missile at that building. Boom! All right. We just fired a Milan 3 over in that direction. Meanwhile, we've got troops on this rooftop here. I'd rather suppress whatever we see of the enemy before we advance too aggressively with our other units. But let's go ahead and pause here for a second. Yeah, hopefully we didn't... I don't think we hurt the mosque. I'm going to go ahead and pause things. I think we're just firing over here. I don't think any shells went long to hit the mosque. So here's going to be the tricky thing is we've got to advance over a lot of open ground at these guys. So it's really going to be necessary to use our armored personnel carriers and our tanks to lay down suppressive fire at a distance as we try and advance on these guys. Our spotters here, can they see these bad guys? Can they call in artillery on this building here? It's probably going to take a little while, but let's try and grab one of our 155s. We'll do a point target. We can strike that building. We'll just do one gun, and we'll do a medium bombardment, I'm guessing, and a short duration. I'm going to do general HE because I'd rather take the building down and do immediate. It's going to take 4 minutes for that fire mission to get kicked in. But they do have line of sight because they are on that rooftop there. All right, so for the moment, let's do this. Let's get our infantry going here. Let's get one of our companies of infantry currently hiding out in these little forests or groves or whatever they are. I think what we're going to do is we're going to get our APCs going. Hopefully they're covered behind that building. I'm going to get the APCs into position, and then I'm going to... these are technically APCs, right? Not AFVs. So we're going to put them there between that building. We'll put the next one behind this building. I don't want to advance the infantry in these things. They feel like death traps if I try and advance infantry across the open in armored personnel carriers. So we'll stack these guys up back here. Again, just trying to hide them a little bit behind trees, or behind not trees, behind buildings. We'll bring this company HQ up here. That one might be exposed, but hey, the leaders can take fire. All right, so we'll get these guys going. I'm actually pretty pleased with how this looked. I saw some people in the forums commenting how, like, graphically speaking, the game isn't the most advanced, but I think it looks pretty damn good. The UI may not be the most modern thing, but it certainly beats Graviteam UI. God, I want to like Graviteam games. I really want to give them a fair shake, but I just struggle to get past the UI. I can't. Every time I try, I'm like, what the hell am I doing? And frankly, it's probably unfair on my part. I should spend a little bit of time getting to know it, but I don't really feel like trying to figure out how to play a game for like 3-4 hours before I understand what the heck I'm doing. It's maybe that's just me being lazy, I guess. And it's not even like learning, it takes a few hours to learn a game. It's less like taking 3 or 4 hours to learn a game. It's more taking 3 or 4 hours to have any idea what buttons I'm even clicking. And again, maybe that's just because I'm stupid. All right, so we're going to move these guys forward here. Let's move them. I think there's a little bit of cover in here in this shrubbery, so hopefully they're relatively secure there. Want to be careful that we don't swing too far out to the right, just given there, we know there's minefields out that way. So I'm going to move this platoon into this field. I think we'll move their HQ with them. Again, if we lose units in buildings, we lose them for the campaign. So my buildings are largely just kind of crammed back here in the rear. Thank you, by the way, Angry Taco, for the follow, and just another lurking. I want to love Graviteam. Evil 6, I really do. I wanted to learn how to play their Blaze of War, their T-64 and M60 tank sim in the Iran-Iraq War that looks so awesome. But every time I try and learn it, I'm just like looking at these buttons and not know, like literally I don't know what a single button on there does. And then I got to look through the manual on every single UI button. Oh shit, is that a spotting round there by the 155? That was well off. Yep, that was a spotter, or a spotting round. So they basically that you call in an artillery strike, and it takes a few moments for you to zero in the target. So they fired obviously off to the right here. You can see the smoke kicked up by it. You can see the round destroyed this wall here. The M60 in Graviteam is at least easier because you can laser designate target. The T-64 is a nightmare to try and shoot in that game. All right, so we got one spotting round down. I wish it would tell me exactly how many rounds the artillery has available to it. It doesn't really say that. Oh, wait, yeah, it does. Right here. I'm stupid. 118 rounds, it looks like, and 112 of Wily Pete. So it looks like another round just landed here. Still well off target. If those Syrian troops have any sense in them, they are no longer in that building. All right, meanwhile, our infantry is moving across this ground here slowly, deliberately. We're not trying to tire them out, so they're not sprinting. They're just moving through cover. They're not under fire yet. They're still spotting. They're not firing for effect yet. So you can see they're at 117 rounds of ammo, which is a pretty good amount for a single-barreled weapon, I think. Unless that includes both guns, in which case it's 60 per gun, which is possibly what it is. So they're still spotting. Where did that one go? Or is it on the way? I mean, it is dangerous, but I don't have any cover I can really move through, guys. There's no buildings to move through. This is a minefield over here. Oh shit, they're taking fire from something. Someone's taking fire. Small arms fire. Or APC is shooting at somebody. Looks like they're in this front building over here. Boom! Oh, I love those. You hear that shell come in. This one was much closer. Oh, there they go! Firing for effect. Still not really hitting the building. Yeah, there you go. You're a little bit closer. I imagine anyone in that building is in trouble. You can see the wall of this building has been blown open. Oh, direct hit right on the building. Second one right on the building as it goes down. So, hopefully those Syrian troops stayed in that building. Alright, let's tell those guys to cease fire. Oh, their fire mission's already up. Oh, yes, so it's 120 rounds per gun. So they look like they fired off about 12 rounds there. All right, so our troops are still advancing. Looks like we've spotted some enemy troops up here in the front. We haven't lost any casualties. We are under fire, so I think what I'm going to do here is we're going to go America style. We're just going to drop arty on these guys. Point target right here. One barrel. Medium. Short. General. Immediate. It's going to take 4 minutes, but again, I'm going to advance slowly. I don't want to lose too much in the way of casualties. You can see here we're firing hopefully to pin these guys in place. These guys really, maybe we'll pin them in place and they'll stay put, and then we can just drill them with that artillery. I don't want to risk my vehicles or anything like that because I'm a coward. I guess we can move our tank up here. We could do direct fire with the tanks too. King of Battle takes another victim. Hell yeah, arty all the way. Arty rules the battlefield, right? Alright, we'll have our tank fire on that target. I don't want to use too much of its ammunition up on this. If the artillery doesn't arrive in time, then if it arrives before the tank takes care of it, we'll obviously have the tank cease fire. They're shooting a little bit short. Is that where I told them to shoot? There's still fire coming into this building. We'll shoot at the building there. It's an area target. There you go. Shot right into the building. We'll give them 2 more rounds. Under that, I'm going to go ahead and have my troops advance slowly a little bit closer. I think we might have just heard one of the artillery rounds off map. One of the spotting rounds, perhaps. Advance! God, a 120mm tank round is just sexy going out. Let's watch one more shot, then we'll have them cease fire. There we go. On the way. Clear target. Got a lot of dust kicked up here. Not sure we still want to have them fire artillery. They're shooting short here, but there's still incoming fire from somewhere. It's light. We haven't taken any casualties yet. Not sure if they're still in this building. There's also something out over this direction, closer to the mosque. Trying to see where that fire's coming from. Oh shit, we took a casualty! Our anti-tankman's down. That artillery is nowhere near on target. Alright, enemies up here close to the mosque. God damn it. I want you to adjust your fire. I know the mission's not even underway yet. Oh shit, no, cancel. You're still spotting, right? Alright, so they're still in this building. They're trading fire with our troops that are moving across this open ground. Well, someone just shot at the guy in the building. Still just the one casualty. Remember, this is like 2007 NATO, so a single casualty is a big deal. Alright. So I think we're going to wait here until we get that arty. They're still hanging out in that building. Meanwhile, our tank decided to take it upon itself to fire another round down range. It's only got 13 heat rounds left, though. Holy shit, was the round that short? Who just fired that? That was not a 155. That was too small. Maybe they have mortars. Either way, it was well behind us. Where's our artillery? It's not firing? Oh, must have already put its rounds down range, I guess. There you go, right on target there. Point target. Meanwhile, I really hope we don't hit the mosque. Don't shoot long. Meanwhile, that building's down. I got to imagine a building coming down on him is gonna take a little bit out of him. Cries as he tears his stream down his face. Alright. Let's move our reinforcements up too. Or not our reinforcements, but our other company, I guess. Kind of annoying that just follow the road, dude. We're going to stack up a whole bunch of APCs here. Does the blinking mean they're shooting or that we have visual on them? I don't know what the blinking indicates. All right, so we've got eyes on enemy units here. So maybe we should adjust that fire to being a little bit... Well, we've got eyes on that building. No, they're mostly short. So let's do this with our... All right, we're going to hit this area. Area target there. I'd rather adjust the intensity. It look like I have that as an option. Oh shit, the enemy must be firing artillery at us. There's a lot of anti-personnel rounds that are landing behind our troops, so they're not doing a good job of spotting. Oh my god, look at all those reports of enemy troops. Let's move these guys forward here a little bit. I'm gonna try and bring my my armored machine guns here and the APCs into action here a little bit. Again, the enemy may have rockets, but at this range, I'm hoping we're safe. Obviously, if they have ATGs, that may be the wrong strategy. Lots of blinking red. Those are suspected enemies, right? Not necessarily confirmed. J Street, thanks for the bits. Well, we do have a lot of 155, or we got about 200 rounds of 155 ammo that's at our disposal. All right, so we're going to move our infantry up to support. Maybe the flank attack on this town wasn't the wisest strategy. In any event, we should have a lot of long-range machine gun fire to assist us. Meanwhile, our troops that are halfway through this field, have we taken any more casualties? Still just the one. Let's have them move forward a little bit more. Can we slow? Let's have them move forward slowly. Hopefully that area artillery bombardment will keep us safe a little bit. We'll close the distance. What we really need to do is we need to get into a line of buildings here and then work our way into town, I think. All right, so we've got a lot of machine gun fire pouring into some enemy troops that are moving through this town. Looks like we inflicted a few casualties, at least one here. Now, light stuff like machine guns going in toward the mosque won't actually be bad. It won't give us penalties, but if we start rocking the mosque with artillery, that's the problem. Drop an arty on the building. Hopefully that keeps their heads down as my troops move forward slowly. Moving my other infantry in here. So we've got a nice machine gun line here in this field with our APCs. Must keep the German army safe. Maybe being a little bit too cautious. We still got this one leopard guarding the road. Looks like it's fired 2 heat rounds. We've got some indication of enemy troops out toward Frings in the center. Meanwhile, it looks like some of our reserves have arrived. We've got some breaching units that have arrived. So those guys may be useful in taking out these enemy troops in these towns. That's what the shovel represents, is I think they're combat engineers meant for like breaching buildings. Okay. I'm okay if they fall back to the mosques. I need to get a All right, so our artillery's still firing and obscuring this part of the town in smoke. Gonna try and sneak into this building over here. We'll have these troops move forward here. And these guys move over here. We'll set up an HQ in the town as well. Probably in one of these rear buildings, and see if we can't get some purchase. Meanwhile, our other companies coming up. I think we're going to move one of our AFVs forward, or maybe 2 of them forward, to get a little bit more heavy weapon support close in. Artillery round just landed here. I'm guessing that's enemy arty. Meanwhile, I'm assuming some of the smoke from our own artillery will help obscure the advance a bit. They're probably falling back into this mosque zone. German army stopped existing on August 29th, 1944. Don't at me. What happened on August 29th, Super Chacho? Okay. So we've got a lot of machine gun fire coming in here. These Milan anti-tank vehicles, or not anti-tank vehicles, but they've got machine guns on them. By the way, it looks like our tornado has arrived, so we could call in a tornado ground attack aircraft. We could just level the mosque and be like, fuck it. I have an idea. We're gonna move our armor forward here, avoiding the roads. So far, it doesn't seem like they've got much in the way of rockets. They do have some arty that's coming down. Gonna move some of these engineers forward as well. We'll need them in breaching the mosque because we can't blow it up. Meanwhile, let's do this. Tornado ground attack. No, probably not an area target. That's a mistake. Point target. Let's see. Indication of enemy troops. Most of these are lighter colors, which I'm assuming means older targets. Where's this artillery coming down? Shit, they've got... It looks like anti-personnel artillery. Oh no, our troops are moving through it. Enemy mortars coming down on our vehicles. Doesn't look like any of them were taken out. Meanwhile, my troops, which are slowly advancing on the town, are going ever so goddamn slowly. You gotta get out of the open, guys. You're sitting ducks. Your vehicles, at least in theory, have some protection. All right, let's get back to those spotters here. It feels like the enemy's probably got a bunch of troops in this building or this building. So we're going to strike this target. We'll come in with one bomb maybe, immediate. 6. Alright, so we're going to bring in an airstrike on one of those buildings out there. I don't think it's one of the buildings I can't hit. I'm not 100% sure. Amex, they will be porting the other combat mission games to Steam eventually. So I get it. It may not be your cup of tea. I can also understand why maybe they're larger games in the franchise they might want to wait on in terms of bringing to Steam. Enemy target here. Shit, 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 guys. Don't move quick. Move slow. I don't want you getting hit by these guys on the flank. Can you hit that from there? Go for that building, guys. Put some 20mm chain guns into it, I'm guessing. The German invasion of Syria is going. We've lost 1 casualty so far, to my knowledge.
Roger. Your route to IP.
Oh shit. I think that means our airstrike's incoming. All right, everybody, that's going to do it for this episode of Combat Mission Shock Force 2, which will be coming to Steam on September 1st. Hope you guys enjoyed this look. I know it's not the most fast-paced combat game, and this is my first time really playing it extensively. I played it a little bit before an interview with Steve Gamont, I believe the designer or one of the co-founders of Battlefront, and actually we have an interview that's coming up on our Developer Dialogue podcast with him. It's really fascinating, sort of about how they ended up on Steam, a lot of the history of the Combat Mission series, sort of their effort to gain a government contract for a professional version of it, and really just a really enjoyable chat with Steve. So it's on all of your podcast networks, if you will. The podcast is called Developer Dialogue, so I've been running for about 4 years with Jean and now Tortuga a podcast called Single Malt Strategy. That podcast has sort of been broken off to just be sort of us, talking about gaming amongst ourselves. And then Developer Dialogue has been a podcast that we've started up to really deal about like developer interviews. And so Steve's interview will be coming up on there before too long. So if you're interested in that, I highly recommend checking it out. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'm going to go ahead and pick things up next time, so we will post this battle in its entirety without any editing. Maybe we won't do that in the future. Maybe we'll edit out some downtime. But as I was playing through this the first time, it felt to me like it was a good battle to show almost my first impressions. I played a ton of Combat Missions 1 and 2. I played Shock Force 1 when it came out. And I've played a little bit of Fortress Italy. I did a review for wargamer.com. So I have played some of the newer Combat Missions, but not really recently. And before the interview, I sort of refreshed myself on some of those games, but this was really my first, I'm going to just try and play really competitively and do well. And I think we'll continue to cover the German campaign. I think it's interesting. Leopards are pretty awesome looking tanks. And, let's see what it looks like. Some of the other campaigns are listed as large or huge, and I thought they might be a little bit overwhelming, whereas the German campaign is listed as medium while still having armored units, which some of the lighter, Canadian campaigns, I'm not sure how much of those they have. So I thought we'd kind of continue this. Let me know your thoughts below, though, if this is something you want to see more of. Until next time, though, this is the Historical Gamer saying once again, thank you very much for watching, and I'm out.